Welcome to SAFETRADER. This is Arvind. Today we will talk about few important topics. These are the topics that many of you have been asking me on a daily basis when we are live. So for those who do not know, this will be really helpful. For those who know already, this will be a refresher. Okay. So we will most importantly talk about two important aspects. Okay. One is buying an option. Secondly, selling an option. Now, when you buy an option, what are those important things that you need to keep in mind? Like limit order means you are placing a limit order when you are buying a option. Okay. And what is a trigger limit order? When you want to buy an option at a higher price than the existing price now. Okay. On also when you are selling an option, what are those concepts of SLM and SL, and most importantly trailing SL? Most of them have asked me what is a trailing SL and how to play with it. So we are going to talk about all these things in detail, and also if you observe any kind of issues with it, or if you do not know, or if you did not understand any concepts that we are going to discuss, you can right away comment it out, or you can also ping me on Telegram. I will be happy to help. And before we proceed, I would request you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button so that our content reaches to wide variety of people who does not know anything of these details. Thank you very much. Okay, let's talk about first buying an order. Okay, when you want to buy a strike price, or when you want to buy an option price at somewhere around 190 rupees or 200 rupees, what would you do? You would either buy at a market price or at a limit order price. Okay, so there are two things called. One is buying at a market price or at a limit price. Now, what are those two things? Now, let's look at one screenshot or one scenario where we have market order and limit order. Okay. So, for example, imagine that there is a strike price of 17,300 is the strike price. Now, there are two things that you need to understand here. One is a bid price. Okay. And second one is a offer price. And now what are these two? For example, if you want to buy 17,300 put option, you can only buy at 196 rupees now. You cannot buy at 190.55 paise because the seller is selling only at 196 rupees. Now, for example, if you are going to a supermarket, for example, okay, and you want to buy a soap, okay, and the soap is priced at 35 rupees. Now, you can buy the soap only at 35 rupees, not at a price of some discounted price, something like 20 rupees or 25 rupees, right? Okay. So if the soap is priced at 35 rupees, if shopkeeper is selling you a soap at 35 rupees, you can only buy that at that price. So basically you would buy a particular product at a seller price, not at a buyer price. Okay. So similarly, you see that offer price is a selling price. So there is a seller at 196 rupees. So you can only buy 17,300 put at 196 rupees. You cannot buy it 190.55. So what is this 190.55? What is this bid price? Basically, there is a buyer. Okay, here there is a buyer trying to negotiate. Okay, it is like I am sitting here on my table trying to put my order. I placed my order, okay, at 190.55. So I am ready to buy only at this price. I don't want to buy at 196 price. So that is a demand of a bid price, or the offer price is at 196 rupees. So someone has to come down or go up. So if the bid price is changed, or if someone changes their order to 196, here this particular order will be removed. Or if this seller reduces his selling price to 190.55, he would be able to make a deal with the seller. So basically both have to come to an agreement to make a trade. Okay, if they stay like this, seller stays here and buyer stays here, So there will not be any trade at all. Okay. So now we know that seller price should be accepted for you to buy. As we said, we are going to talk about market order and limit order now. Okay. Let's get to that first. Now, when you click on a buy, so we are going to talk about buy here. So we click on buy. Okay. Now, when you want to buy at market order, for example, if you want to buy at a market order, you select this option, which is market, and click on buy option, right? Now, when you click on buy option, what happens? Whatever the price is at offer price at the time of taking an order, at whatever the time. For example, now it is around 10 o'clock in the evening or at night. Now, whatever the price it is at, okay, 196. Now there is no trade, live trade, but I'm only giving you an example here. So, for example, if you are trading in the morning or in the afternoon hours, when you click on buy, whatever the price that it shows at that time will be executed. Okay, the trade will be taken at that price, not below that or not at bidding price or any other price you see it here. It will be only at a offer price. Whatever the offer price that you see will be executed when you select a market option. Now, what happens when you select a limit option? For example, if you want to select a limit order, now what does that basically mean? It basically means that the price is at 196 rupees, okay? The price is at 196 rupees, but you don't want to buy at 196 rupees. It is a higher price for you maybe. You want to buy it at maybe, for example, 120 rupees, okay? You don't want to buy it 196 rupees, but you want to buy it 120 rupees. So that is when you place an order, you click on limit here and place 120 rupees here. So when this particular amount 196 comes down to 120 rupees, your order gets executed. Okay, you click on buy and then it goes to an order status where it will be in pending status. Okay, because the price is at 196. Only if this offer price comes down to 120, that is when this order gets executed. So that is the idea. Now, what if you want to buy it at a higher price? Okay, now here is the catch. See, this will work only when you want to buy at a lower price. Okay, you can buy at 190, you can buy at 180, you can buy at 177 or even 160 is also fine. So you can buy this particular option at any price lower than the offer price. Okay, you can buy at any price lower than that, but you cannot buy at higher price than this. For example, if you want to buy at 200 rupees, you cannot buy this option at 200 rupees using this limit order. What happens when you place a limit order with this higher price? For example, you want to place at 200 rupees. Okay. Now, if you place 200 rupees here, or for example, 200 rupees. Now, what happens? And when you click on buy, okay, it takes the price of the current offer price. Okay, it does not get executed at 200 rupees. It gets executed only at 196 rupees because the price at offer price is lower than the price in the limit order. Okay, so remember, when you place a limit order, remember that your price should always be lesser than the offer price. This should be lesser than the offer price. So it can be 195 as well. It can be 120 as well, or even 100. But it cannot be above that. If it is above that, for example, if it is 200, it will only get executed at 196 rupees because 196 is the lower price. Now, you might be asking me, what if I want to buy at a higher price, maybe at 220? I don't want to buy at 196 and I don't want to wait. I do not know. The price might move sharply to 300 rupees quickly. So, I want to buy at only 200 rupees. 220 rupees, for example. So, then what would I do? What is the solution for it? Now, here the concept of triggering limit order comes into place. Okay. So, trigger limit order comes into place. Okay. That's the second one we are going to talk about. Okay. What is the trigger limit order? So, let's go back to same Zerodha screen. Okay. Now, you see that the price is at 196 rupees. Okay. Once the price is at 196 rupees and you would like to buy at 220 rupees, for example. You want to buy at 220 rupees. Now, what you do, you place something called, you click on something called SL here. Okay. We will talk about SL as well little later. Okay. So, but click on that SL, right? And your price should be the target price that you want to buy. So you want to buy at 220 rupees, place this here. Okay. Now your trigger price should be lesser than the price that you mentioned here. So here it is 220 rupees, and your trigger price should be lesser than this price. Okay, it can be any price that you want to set it. So normally you can set it to maybe 210 rupees, or it can be 215 rupees, or it can be 219 as well. Okay, right? So normally it should be either equal to or less than the price. So place that price as the trigger price. So now, for example, now what does it basically mean? What does a trigger price do? You are basically telling Zerodha, okay, you are basically telling Zerodha, activate this buying order only above the price that I mentioned. Okay, remember now that it is around 196 rupees. So what do? I go back to this trigger price and place my trigger price around 210 rupees. Okay, so I am telling Zerodha, what am I telling Zerodha here? So I am telling Zerodha, hey Zerodha, now 196, if 196 comes to 210 rupees, activate my buying order. Okay, I am telling Zerodha, only once this 196 comes to 210 rupees, then only activate my buying order. Okay, so when it activates that buying order, okay, then this price will be activated, and whatever the price that you see after the trigger price is activated, whatever the price that is between these two, okay, whatever the price between these two after the trigger getting activated, whatever the price that you see here in offer price will be executed. For example, after 210, maybe if you see something like 211, at 211 the order gets executed. So now if you want exactly at 220 only, you should put the price as 220 here. Okay, or you can place it as 219. So the order gets activated at 219. The next price obviously will be 220. So at 220 it will be executed. Okay, this is called trigger limit order. Okay, when you place a trigger limit order, that is how it gets executed. Okay, so this is how you place it. Now if you want to buy a particular option at a higher price than what it is now, you should use a trigger limit order. Okay, hope everything is clear now. So we spoke about two things now here. Okay, just wanted to recap what we have spoken about. Two things. One is about market limit order or just a limit order. Basically means that when you place a market order, it exactly takes the offer price. Okay, and when you place a limit order, it waits for the level to come and then gets activated. All right, trigger limit order is only gets activated above the offer price. So for example, if your offer price is around 200 rupees and you would like to buy this only at 220 rupees, so you place a trigger limit order maybe around 219 and price will be 220 rupees, so that it gets executed at 220 rupees. Okay, hope this is clear in the buying opportunity. So these are the two topics that needs to be understood if you want to buy a particular option price. Okay, now let's get back to selling perspective. So if you want to sell an option, what is that you would like to do? Okay, so the second part is selling. Right, in the selling, what are we going to check? So the first thing that we are going to check about is SLM. Okay, now what is an SLM? In the sell order, what we are going to check. Now there is something called SLM. Okay, now what is the meaning of SL? SL means stop loss, right? So the term itself tells you that you are stopping your losses, right? You don't want higher losses, you want to stop your losses. That's why it is called stop loss. Now what is M? M basically means market. Okay, you know market order, that is why we discussed about market order earlier. Okay, so we will discuss it more, but SLM is not activated in Zerodha now because previously it was working in Zerodha. Now they have disabled this option in Zerodha. So, and also I don't even suggest to use SLM as well. I will tell you why. I'll tell you the reason why. We were talking about bid price and offer price, right? So for example, 17,300 put again. For example, we have a 17,300. Let me clear the screen for us to understand. There is a bid price and there is an offer price. Okay. Imagine 17,300 put. Okay. Bid price is around, okay, 190 rupees, for example, and offer price is at 196 rupees. Now in SLM, now you know that if you want to place an SL, it is like stopping your loss. Okay. Now you bought a particular strike price. You bought the 17,300 at 200 rupees. Okay. You bought this. Okay. This is a buy price. Okay. You bought at 200 rupees. Now your target, what is your target? Your target is 300 rupees. Okay. And your SL is maybe 185 rupees, for example. This is your SL. Okay. Now you know how to set this, right? You can place a SL and that gets activated. Now, when you look at this, when you look at SLM, now stop loss at market, basically M means at market. So stop loss market, what happens is that there is a difference between a bid price and an offer price, right? Okay. Now in the next minute, maybe at 12 p.m., this is the price you see. Maybe around 1 p.m., what you see is, okay, probably it is 150 and offer price may be around 180, for example. So I'm not saying it will always be such a huge difference, but I am taking it as an example. Okay. Now you place SL at 185. Okay. You place a SL at 185. Now this is an SL, normal SL, but if you place an SLM, what happens? Okay. When you select an SLM and place 185 as your stop loss, okay, as your stop loss, as the market falls, probably your buy price is around 200 rupees, right? 200 rupees. Now after 200, it started falling. Now there was no offer price at 185 at all here. There is no 185 here at offer price. It did not trade. Okay. 17,300 put did not trade at all at 185 rupees. But your stop loss is at 185. Okay. In SLM order. In SLM order, I'm talking about. Not about direct SL. I'm talking about, okay, SLM. So this is your SLM. Now when you place an SLM at 185, okay. So whatever the price below 185, okay. Now after 196, it suddenly comes down, or after 200, it suddenly falls to 180 rupees. It did not even trade at 185. It did not trade at 17,300, did not even trade at 185. It directly fell to 180. So when you place an SLM at 185, your order at 180 gets executed as an SL. Okay. So which basically means that your SL is 185, but your order gets executed at 180. Basically means that you wanted to have 200 to 185, there is a 15 points of gap. Okay. But when you place an SLM, and if the offer price is at below the SLM price, your loss increases, maybe about 20 points, for example. Okay. But if it is trading at 185 rupees, it gets executed at 185 rupees. But there are also chances, right? In the market, it can, anything can happen in any point of time. You might see huge up moves or huge down moves. So in that scenario, if you place an SLM and if the SLM price is not traded, that is when the next price after that SLM will be executed automatically. So you will be in more loss than expected. You don't expect your SLM to be executed at the exact price if the offer price, if the offer price is not trading at 185 rupees or at your SLM order, right? Hope this is clear. Okay. So let's get to SL now. How SL can be calculated. Okay. We look at SL. Now when you talk about an SL, we already said SL means stop loss, right? And in stop loss, we have two things. One is trigger price and the other one is price, right? So trigger price is always lesser than the price. Okay, trigger price should be always lesser than the price. For example, again, as we spoke earlier, you bought a particular option at 300 rupees. Okay, and your target is 400 rupees. Your stop loss is 200 rupees, for example. Okay, now when you place an SL, okay, when you place an SL, you would like to place this 200 rupees at price area, right? This is your SL, so you would obviously be placing 200 as your price here. Now what would be the trigger price? Trigger price would be little above this now, okay, because it is falling from 300 to 200. It is falling from 300 to 200. Remember we spoke about, I'll reiterate what we spoke about, trigger price or trigger limit order and limit order earlier. If you remember, limit order, in the limit order, if you look at, this is the trigger price, lower price is the trigger price, and your price will be 220 higher. Trigger price will be lesser than the actual price that you want to buy in trigger limit order. Remember that. But in stop loss, your price will be lower than the trigger price. Okay. So why? Because it has to come from 300 to 200. But here, if your price is around 200 rupees, it has to come from 200 to 220. It is going up. Whereas here in the SL, it is coming down. So there is a difference between trigger limit order and here stop loss. Trigger order and a price. There is a difference. Okay. So I will show you how it looks like in Zerodha directly. Let's take the same example. Okay. Let's take the same example. Now you see that the 17,300 is trading around 196 rupees. Now your stop loss should be around, maybe you want to place your stop loss at 190 rupees. So it has to, if the stop loss has to trigger, this 196 price has to come down to 180 rupees. So what you do, okay, your stop loss will be 180 rupees and then your trigger price would be maybe 181 rupees or it could be 185 rupees. So anything for that matter, it should be above the trigger price, right? Above the trigger price. That's how the SL is calculated. Now what happens here, as I said, the concept is same as trigger limit order. So as 196 falls down, so for example, it is at 196 rupees. Now as the 196 price is coming down to 185, that is when your SL gets activated, right? Your SL gets activated. Now once this is activated, whatever the price that you set here, okay, or the price between this, okay, will be executed, right? So if the trigger price is around 185 and the price is at 180, once the 185 price is shown at offer price, for example, here you see 185 and you see something like 183 here. Okay. So once this is activated here, whatever the price that you see here will be automatically taken as a price and that gets executed as an SL. So if you want exactly 180 to be your stop loss, you should mention it as maybe 181. That will be your stop loss that gets triggered as soon as it comes to 181. Then your price gets activated. Okay, hope this is clear how stop loss works. Basically, stop loss, I know most of you are aware of it. Most of you are aware how SL works on a selling perspective. Okay, but what we are going to mostly discuss is, okay, about the trailing SL here. Okay, trailing SL, I know most of you want to know how this trailing SL works. Okay, now what is a trailing SL? What is the benefit of it? Let's talk about the benefit of trailing SL quickly. Okay, for example, you bought 17,300 put. At what price you bought it? At 200 rupees. Okay, listen very carefully, guys. Trailing SL, I'm taking little more time for you to understand how this is being done. Okay, you bought 17,300 put at 200 rupees. Okay, and now you are expecting that this might even go up to 500 rupees or it can even go up to 600 rupees, right? Now your stop loss is maybe at 180 rupees. Okay, so you have a stop loss at 180 rupees and your target is 500 or 600 rupees. Now after buying this 200, after buying 17,300 at 200 rupees, imagine that this went up to maybe 220 rupees. Okay. Now what you do, you increase this SL basically. You increase this SL maybe to 200 rupees. Okay. You know how to set an SL now. I explained you how to set an SL. Now you are increasing this SL to higher price basically. Now this is moving towards maybe 250 rupees. Then what you do? You increase this SL to 230 rupees maybe. Okay. And this moves to 300 rupees. Okay. And you increase your SL to 280 maybe. See, this completely depends on which price you want to trail to. Okay. Normally, in a scenario where Bank Nifty moves very fast, most of the times Bank Nifty or Nifty moves very fast, you get only 10 to 15 points normally in a scalping trade, for example. Okay. When you do a scalping trade, what happens? So you buy it at 200 rupees, and after this is moving to 215 rupees, for example, you immediately click on sell option there. Okay, I'll show you how it looks like. Okay. Now after buying, imagine, okay, let me take you to position. So you imagine now these prices are already sold, but I am taking you to imagine that these are not sold. These are still running. Okay. Now what you do, you click on sell option here. Click on this sell option. You click on SL here. Once you do that, now at what price you bought it? Okay. Now our buying price is around 200 rupees. Imagine that this has went up to 220 rupees. Okay. Now after moving to 220 rupees, what should be your price and trigger price? Okay. After 220, you might want to increase it to 218, and this should be 219, for example. Or it can be 215, or it can be 216. Basically what it means that currently 17,300 is trading around what price? 220 rupees. Okay. Imagine that this is around 220 rupees now. Okay. Now you are setting the trigger price at 216 and 215, which means if this price comes down to 216 rupees, this stop loss should get activated, and if it comes down to 215, it should exit. Okay. This is one stop loss that we know already. Now imagine that this is moving to 230. So what you do, you come down to this screen again, you click on modify, go to orders and click on modify basically. And what you do, you increase this. Now what you do, 225 and 226 probably, and click on sell. Okay. Now I cannot do that because markets are closed. Okay. Now imagine that this has gone to 230 to 250 maybe. Then what you do, you come back to this, go to orders, click on modify, and then what you do, select the price as the lower price than the trigger price. So what you do is maybe 248 and 249 maybe, or you can set it to 245 or 246 basically. Okay. So what you are trying to do, you are trying to limit, you are trying to increase your stop losses. So basically that is what I call it as a trailing stop loss. Okay. That is what I call it as a trailing stop loss. So as I said, your trigger price and price has to be changed quickly as the price moves. So what you do, you go to your orders. Now I don't see any orders here, but when you are in a market, what you do is you see, pending orders here around this zone. You should see some pending orders. So you click on modify here. Now you don't see it, but because these are all executed orders, you click on modify, and then you go to you come to this screen. When you see a modify, you come to this screen. When you come to this screen, click on this limit. Click on this SL, and then set the prices accordingly. So now this is how it basically works. Okay. So let's see it again. I want you to fully understand how this works, because trailing SL is something we use it very, very frequently. So I will explain it again. If you don't understand, please let me know. Okay. Trailing SL, basically you bought a particular option at 200 rupees and your current SL is at 180 rupees. So if this price moves to 210 rupees, you increase your SL to 190. If this moves to 220, you increase your SL to maybe 218. That's fine. See, in Bank Nifty, you may not get 120 points or 200 points at every trade. Sometimes you get only 10 points, sometimes you get only 20 points, sometimes you get only 15 points. So accordingly, you need to adjust your stop losses. So if the price is moving from 200 to 210, go to orders section here. Okay, go to your order section here, click on modify, select SL, and then change this one to 208 and 209. So basically it is it. See, so for suppose if this suddenly falls, it gets executed at 208 to 209 between. Anywhere it could be at 208 or 209. So at least you are able to book some profits. Okay, but if it is suddenly moving, for example 200 to probably 240 rupees, okay, you increase your stop loss. You come back to the screen again. If it is moving to 240, what you do is go to 235, maybe 236, something like that. So now the advantage of this, what happens, the advantage of it is that I would like to talk about limit versus trailing stop loss, right? Now what happens in a limit order, if you are buying something at a limit order, okay, if you are setting a limit order for a target to hit, you bought a particular price at particular option at 200 rupees. Now you set a limit of 300 rupees. Okay. Now if this price goes to 300, it gets executed, you get 100 points profit, right? Now what happens in a trailing or a trailing stop loss? If the price is moving from 200 to 250, for example, you change the stop loss to 245 maybe. If this moves to 300, you change your stop loss to 285 maybe. If it moves to 350, you change it to 330 maybe. So what is basically happening, as long as the price moves, it can go anywhere. It can even go to 1000 rupees, does not matter. Okay, you are still trailing maybe at to 900 rupees maybe. So as long as the price goes, you are trailing, so you can get the maximum profit of it, right? So when you place a limit order, what happens? You are placing from 200 to 300, you get only 100 points here. But when you trail, what happens? You are increasing the stop loss, basically increasing the stop loss. So when price moving from 200 to 250, your stop loss is increased from 180 to maybe 230. This is moving to 300, you are increasing your stop loss to 280. Okay, so you basically use the same screen to change your trigger price and price. So remember that when you place it, when you are trailing your stop losses, your trigger price should be higher than the price. Your trigger price should be higher than the price, or it should be equal. So even if they are 235, it is fine, but it should not be like this. Okay, the trigger price should not be 234 or price should be 235. No, it should not be like that. It should be either the same or it should be above that. It can be 40 as well, does not matter, but this needs to be above that. Okay, as the price moves up, as the price is moving up, you start increasing your stop loss, so that as you trail the stop, this is called trailing. When you say trail, what is the meaning of trail? Basically, when you say trailing, you are changing your stop losses. Trailing stop loss basically means that. Trailing means you are changing your stop losses from one price to another price, from one price to another price. So you are changing it basically. So this is the advantage of having trailing stop loss. One important thing. So I know most of you have asked me how to trail it. This is how you trail it in Zerodha. I know it is little difficult when you trade in mobile, but try using it on desktop or on your laptop. It would be quite easy for you to do it. On mobile, you may have to, it looks little clumsy sometimes because you have to be quick when the price is moving. But if it is a desktop or a laptop, I would suggest, you can use a PC to do it, which will be very quick enough for you to gain more profits. Okay, hope you are able to understand whatever we have discussed so far. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me using comments at the bottom, or you can also ping me on Telegram so that I will be able to clarify your questions. So I would like to just review what we spoken about so far. We spoke about in the buying order, buying an option. We spoke about a limit order. We spoke about trigger limit order. Okay, trigger limit order, which is basically if you want to buy at a higher price when the sell price is at 200 rupees, you would like to buy at 200 rupees, 220 rupees. Then you would use a trigger limit order. But in the selling options, there are three things that we spoke about. One is SL, which is stop loss. When you bought a particular price at option at 200 rupees and you would like to keep a stop loss of 180 rupees, you put a stop loss. And in the stop loss, we have two things, which is a trigger price and we have another thing called price, right? In stop loss, trigger price is always higher than the price, okay? And secondly, we spoke about SLM, which is stop loss at market. Basically, this is not suggested from me. I don't suggest you to use SLM, and moreover, it is disabled in Zerodha. But for you to understand, SLM, if you buy a particular order at 200 rupees and if you place a stop loss at 185 rupees, and if this particular order is not trading at 185 rupees, whatever the price that is below this price will be executed, maybe at 180 rupees, or it could be even 100 rupees. When there is a freak trade also, you might be in very huge loss. So stop loss at market is something which I would always avoid. Next, very importantly, trailing stop loss we spoke about. So if you are buying a option at 200 rupees and as this price moves to 220 or it is moving to 230 or it is moving to 500, it can be anything, you only keep increasing your stop loss here. You keep increasing your stop loss. For example, your stop loss was at 180 rupees. You increase it to maybe 210 if it is at 220. If it is at 230, you increase it to 225. If it is at 500, you increase it to 490. So this way you are able to catch the entire momentum. You are able to catch the entire momentum. As long as it goes, you are able to book profits, right? So in case probably after reaching 230, it takes a reversal and comes back. That is when your trailing stop loss might get hit. So there is no problem even if it is getting hit around this price because we will still be in profit. So when there is a quick movement, for example, from 200 to 210 or maybe 215, it's good that we do a quick change of SL, which basically means that we need to trail our SLs quickly. So quickly go to orders and click on modify and you just need to select SL and change your trigger price and also price. So based on this, you should be able to catch the entire momentum and book good profits. Okay. Hope I was able to clarify most of your doubts and I am sure this will make some good sense for you while we deal with the trades during our live streaming. If you did not understand any of these concepts, please let me know in the comment section or also ping me on Telegram channel. And if you're new to this channel and if you're watching this video for the first time, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. Thank you so much.